Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just Winternomics. Welcome. Welcome to Winternomics.eth. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready to just
Greetings. Pandemic, 2020, tragedy in the NBA, volatile first 27 days of the year. Well, 28 now. How's everybody doing? Happy 2020, I think. This is a fake pandemic for the media. Gucci clone. Can you guys hear me clear? Is mic volume okay? We do have a doctor in the house. I don't think he's in the house right now, but we do have a doctor in the squad. Mic is good. Okay. Yeah. We've talked about that in past shows that the parabolic structure of the human population growth itself is the fundamental shift that likely will create the dump move for humans is going to be either war, famine, disease, or a combination of those three things. The fact that we are competing for on-world assets and now off-world assets and always looking for a technological edge, biowarfare is a serious concern because we're all biased about where we come from. If you come from Russia, you come from China, you come from America, you're probably going to be conditioned to feel that your country is best equipped to do certain things and other countries are not. Dr. D's in the house. It's a real problem. Bioengineer too. Right, so that's what I was getting to. Can't conclusively say it, but there is a bio research lab for biowarfare in Wuhan where this came from, where they study the coronavirus. There's a good chance that these knuckleheads fucked up and let this thing out, and don't have the kind of protocols in place to do the kind of research they're trying to attempt to do. A lot of things about China is like 1950s, 1960s United States when it comes to regulations and certain policies and safety protocols and practices that haven't really, been put in place for whatever reason. But they have tech that's like way ahead of the time periods that we had those protocols. I don't think I feel any better about the United States fucking with VX gas than I do China. But if I had to pick, if I had to pick one of the two, I'd say I'd rather the United States. There's certain things we do to control really hazardous products that we don't want our enemies to know about or anybody else, that these guys aren't really good at keeping secrets yet. All you need is one real good fuck up at something that's been engineered to kill us all to, in a world where we're as interconnected as we are today, to get it everywhere in a matter of moments. KJ actually, threw this at me as a potential pandemic scenario before it really started to scare people. And even I kind of shrugged it off as like, we've seen SARS, we've seen MERS, we've seen bird flu, swine flu, fuck flu, Ebola. And the hype they do with it is pretty interesting. Every time you watch it, there seems to be one drug company out there that seems to be fast-tracked to have a vaccine or has a working vaccine already for the thing that's about to be a pandemic, and it's in limited supply. And I know there's I think a grant that's gone out to one company already to fast track a vaccine for this thing. But it seems ultra contagious, and preliminary numbers with really low statistical sample sizes is that it has a mortality rate of like 3%, which is, I believe, 10x of the mortality rate of the flu. Been about 100 years, we're due for one. It's a real problem. And that's the thing, all things do move in cycles, including, famines, the earth cycles and heating and cooling, and diseases. They all do have their cycles. You look at where China's at, one of the things that happened to Europe had the Black Plague, before we had the Industrial Revolution, and China is about to be the world is about to be in the age of China. China might be due for a massive plague before they really become a powerhouse in this world. That would be an unfortunate thing. I saw Bill Gates has a scenario that estimates that this thing could kill like 65 million people. If that was localized in China, that would be like what? Next to nothing in their population. I think like 3% of their population. But if that got into the United States, that would be significant. It's over 20% of the U.S. population. So let's hope that, Gates isn't too prophetic. China extended holidays till Feb 9th, so everyone can stay at home. Yeah, you know, that whole incubation period of 2 weeks, where no one shows shit of signs of anything and they don't have body temperature. The only screening they're really doing on the airplanes is checking your body temperature. And if you're in the incubation period, you're gonna walk right out of every airport. That's how that shit's everywhere right now in every country. It's it seems transmittable enough. It seems like the perfect disease to go everywhere. It's not easily detected when it first sets on, but it's completely transmittable even when you don't have symptoms. And you have 2 weeks in a world where we commute like a motherfucker. So it's got the perfect setup to be delivered all over the fucking planet. We probably are gonna need somebody to figure out a cure, control metric, something other than hoping it runs its course. Bill Gates owns the patent on the coronavirus. Uh, I've seen there's all kinds of rumors going around. I don't know which is what. I've seen somebody else say that somebody else owns a patent for it. It's likely created. When some of those patents are filed, a lot of times people misinterpret that meaning they have created the disease from scratch. There might be mutations or variants that they hold patents to when they attempt to produce vaccines. Or like weakened versions of the virus to create vaccines. That's going to get a patent. So you have to do a little bit more digging to make sure you're not just throwing wild conspiracy theories out that he's the man behind the disease. Year of the rat, right? Those fucking vermins bring disease. Someone needs to get us the fuck out of this Chinese calendar bullshit. That's pretty funny. Let's see what else we got. Last time you explained that volumes are people. How can you do T and volume? Is that even more sentiment read thing? Price is people. Everything on the chart that you see is just people. Candlesticks, the volume structures, everything. All the data on the chart is being created by humans. And the price structure has geometric normalities to it that, meaning saying that price is people, you can TA price, you can TA volume. There is a geometry to price that we look at every week when we do these shows. I will sit out in my mom's basement. Trust me, your mom will bring it down to you when she feeds you. Saw the first report finding a cure already. Not sure if it's 100%. Saw a few reports of them finding a cure already. That happens. That's going to be fucking money if we see that happen. Markets will fly if they do that right away. Climate problem solved, 10 to 15% population reduction. Interesting. Bioengineered viruses are a big business. I agree with that. I mean, bioengineered businesses are part of the life cycle of pharmaceuticals, right? If we don't keep getting sick and staying sick, they don't have a business cycle. So it goes without saying that there is an absolute monetary interest for is there a monetary interest for pharmaceutical companies to introduce viruses to the market? Absolutely. There is no money in the cure. Who's that guy who went to jail for marking up this drug to a ridiculous price for kids? Starts with an S. Some kind of a scumbag. He bought a Wu-Tang album, and I can't remember his name right now. Shaky. So they showed that he was trying to block generic drugs to compete with the one he wanted to control the price of. And then took the drug that already existed on the market and put it in the price bracket. It makes it literally unaffordable to people that need it. There was another drug company that found that their treatment for rheumatoid arthritis actually ended up being effective in treating Alzheimer's, and then tried to scuttle it because there's no money in actually curing that shit. The treatment's where the money's at. If somebody makes you better of a disease tomorrow, they don't have the money to unless they charge you an astronomical price, to fund the R&D for the research it takes to figure out these diseases and do anything with them. So, it's not actually economical to cure you, believe it or not. Just like it's not economical to sell you a toaster oven that never breaks. If you never come back for 40 years, I'm broke. So the fact is, I need you to be a good customer for life and keep buying toaster ovens. So that's true for every business, right? They make you a vehicle that never breaks down. They can't sell you any parts for it at BMW or Mercedes, right? So those cars break down all the fucking time. So the money's on the comeback, right? New Jack City, they taught us that. You make money on the comeback. Respect, BTC Booger. Thanks for the bits. It's all businesses work that way. And you just, if you take out automobiles and stick in, pharmaceutical drugs, how exactly do you make money? If you look right now, psilocybin magic mushrooms are about to come to market. They're working on MDMA. They are trying to bring LSD to market. Ketamine is coming to market. Every single street drug that I grew up knowing in the 90s that you get locked up forever for is now about to be called medicine and resold to you. It's not about cures. It's just about making money and making sure you don't fucking make it with them, right? Laws aren't about your protection; they're about restricting competition. That's why we have a system like we do, where you lobby Congress with money and grease them up and make them write laws for companies to restrict other people from competing with them. I mean, who was the biggest lobbyist to hold medical marijuana back? It was the alcohol distributors. What up? What up? It's a scam. New Jack City. Only the old heads know about some New Jack City. If y'all never seen New Jack City, you got some fucking culture. Watch that shit. They coming back for the base. Yeah. G Money. Love that guy. This isn't personal. This isn't business. This is personal business. There's so many great one-liners in there. RG State, what up? Respect on 1,000 bits, homie. Winter is back. That's right. There was a little hiatus. We had to bring it back around and get a little reset. So we're gonna look at some of the things that we left off on. Looking at BTC where he was. Much of what we told you on the last shows. If you followed along, you should have had a good idea what BTC was doing, breaking out above these nuts, what to do with it once he got above there. We told you what to do once he did clear these nuts. I am not sure what that thing says. There's a banner that's saying crazy things to me right now I've never seen before. What did you do? Somebody's doing commands or doing things to my Twitch I don't understand, but it looks funny. What the hell is going on? There's weird fucking emoji faces running across my control panel. I have no idea what you just did. Gotta go to work. What? This could cost you employment right here missing this. No, I'm kidding. Do your thing, homie. So let's see. The hype train is running. You guys gotta use bits and stuff to get this to the next level. I don't even know what the hype train is, but it's some crazy things are happening on my control panel. They be doing updates. I never know what's going on. So let's take a peek at some of what we had popping before. All right. So on the left is the Dow Jones. We'll talk about him. On the right is BTC. Whoops, wrong one. So had a bull flag on BTC that we drew in. He survived the very tip of the pleb shockwave. Not by this graph, but by the one that we've been using that had a lot more liquidity in it, which was the Coinbase one. But since he's a train wreck, I figured I would put that over here. So this guy's broken out. Hold on, let's see where I've got a couple drawings on here. All right, this is our anticipated date for when it would actually do this. Like I said, we're early. This is Litecoins. We're too high. So got the timing right for Litecoin. Got the location right for Bitcoin. It's a little bit weird. So the timing is right. This is where he should bull flag. I thought he would bull flag higher, but this is when he should bull flag. If you guys have been paying attention, you see these floating boxes sitting on my chart. That's what they are. They're projections of where I think shockwaves are going to appear. Much like Starbucks chart that I posted before. Let's see, can I show you that easily? Yeah, there you go. That's easy. I try to project where price is going to do shit, where we're going to have you have impulses and you have consolidations, consolidations. So try to figure out with timing, how long we're going to actually impulse for, when will you consolidate, and when will you impulse again. So I make those projections, not always accurate, but give me an idea about the timing of things. If you remember this thing, we drew this guy off of EOS. and we fit them onto everybody to see kind of where everybody was. And we had a bull flag set up in Bitcoin, which was the only one at the time. See, we had moved in, we just copied and pasted them all over the place, if you remember that. And we had our bull flag that we noted, pumped out, and then we left. And then, where's our other chart for this guy? Damn, Peter. Just snap, son. 5 stacks. For them tiggle bitties. Respect, Arb. I hope you kill that fucking move, homie. I seen you put up some fire inside to our Discord, so that's good shit. Let's see here. This is our zone that we have on Stamp. If you watch him, and you gotta keep track of different exchanges. I watch a few of these guys. This is an old example. We can go ahead and delete this guy. He's been here forever. Shockwave example. I gotta get some space back on this thing. So I leave all my stuff from the last times we do this so we can kind of build onto things. But this was an example for somebody about Shockwave, so I just need to sit in the charting with block and stuff. So, like we said, we wanted to watch this angle. We readjusted the angle for the last high that created the low. Blew it through it clean. Hasn't really taken out the high that generated the low, but he's structuring an up wave right now. So, things to be cautious of always, no matter how good it looks. Alright. You trended up out of here. If this holds right here, this will be your next low point. It's not actually broken high again, so you don't draw it till it does. For now, though, this guy, this is probably not the best chart to be doing this on. It's got too much shit already. This is a higher resolution, falling high. And this is a lower resolution uptrend that's contained within the last wave down in a higher resolution. This needs to still be conquered before you can actually say the trend structure of this falling wave is reversed. So it has actually just reversed in a lower resolution on the way down and turned around back up, and structured an up wave here. But technically, he's not actually out of the woods yet. So you're gonna want to watch this guy. This is your bull flag, a pretty large scale bull flag on the daily. We can make you something else, right? And he's your key location now to see if he can actually leg up and threaten this level up here at 10.3. So this was our warning level for the critical level for it to sustain the gold fractal, and it did sustain. I think it was by $19 or something crazy. And then this was our angle to maintain the trajectory out of the bottom of Lucky 13, which is back here, the Lucky 13, if you remember that from the gold fractal. And he did hold it. He maintained it. He said he was wicking this. He's held that. So technically, he's maintained this uptrend structure. And this is what I talked to you about, the geometry of price, respecting the geometry of price. By making sure that you are accurate with your angles, and not drawing through wicks or trying to force something to be something you want it to be, but respecting the geometry of price, what is it doing? Zoom in. And drawing this correctly, it'll become relevant in the future again. Price will interact with it. So it's a really good angle from the past that we look to see what's along it in the future. Really cool stuff. So this was the projected shockwave structure of the gold fractal. So if we were looking at it right, I'm going to move this out of the way real quick, but let's just grab him and put him down here where we can see him. I can put him back. So to get it to that, you needed a bull flag out of the recoil at the depths of hell, and basically a wave to get into a higher region up here, probably around, like I said, the base level 10.3, get to that, and shockwave in this huge range. Again, like we've said for many months, it's not a perfect fit for the gold fractal, but you have an idea of what it should be doing if it's going to keep mirroring the emotional structure of the traders of gold, for the 2 decades of the 80s and the 90s. So for now, he has maintained all the things he had to barely hang on to being the gold fractal still. He looks ugly. This shockwave is massive compared to what went on in gold, but structurally the waveform is still intact. So he marches on. This is a good zone that I marked here, 84.25 by, get out of the way, you stupid thing, 81.27.59. That was the zone for him to test. It's actually shockwave in. He didn't really shockwave in it too hard. He just kind of wicked the area. But it was a good fit. This is when I thought he should have done it, gotten here, flagged back down, and then tested that region, and then pumped back out of it. It's a solid area that's floating up here. These nuts, like I told you, right? Play the bull structures above these nuts. You didn't have to sit down here fishing if you're a noob and stuff and chopping yourself to pieces. You could have waited till you had good strength, took out some volume errors on the way back up, and then sat on top of these nuts and then pumped right off of it. All right, so this is a perfect fit to what I told you should do when he gets ready to leave. You could just wait and be patient. LTC, we already talked about him. Let's see. B&B. We looked at this guy before. Downtrend, bear flag, new low. Again, this isn't really actually to where you can say that this is compromised. Technically, this guy's still falling. Yeah, it's shitty. Oh well, let's use that. Fuck it. And again, he has low rise up wave. So that's all he's got going on right now. So there is a bull tide happening, but always keep in mind what resolution you're trading in and what the macro is that's going to govern that resolution that you're trading in. A lot of times you can get caught, from what I've talked to guys in the channel, you get caught staring at one time frame too long, and you don't realize that price is fractal in all time frames. There are waves within waves that you're looking at, and it's actually like a mind fuck, like an optical illusion. Everything looks the same in all time frames. And if you lose context of price, meaning you lose context of the way that governs the time frames that you trade in, things that look great in uptrends will look great also in downtrends without you realizing that things have switched. So keeping yourself abreast of the price in multiple time frames is your best bet. Help you with that problem. So yeah, that is a quick crypto rundown. So let's take some questions. Let's see what you guys got. Oh, that was Petch who dropped the 5 stacks. That's our bitch. I got a mask on. My bad, Petch. Respect, homie. Yeah, was it both of you? You guys both crazy? No, it was Petch. My bad. I two shots at the wrong dude. Steve, you still managed to chop yourself up again. I mean, that's the thing. You can be right about the direction and wrong on the entry anyway. So, like, the mechanics of how you deal with the wave matters. And a lot of people don't realize that too. You got people who bet against uptrends and get killed, and you got people who believe in the uptrend but don't know the right mechanics or risk management to survive it. The wave, honestly, it travels along a path of dead bodies, for all kinds of reasons. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Dr. D, get your tier 1 sub out. Respect. Damn, Dr. D. Volume profile. Volume profile is not complicated. We've touched on this in a couple past episodes. Let me see. Am I still on screen share? Okay. So all the volume profile is a different aggregation of the volume on the bottom, right? The volume on the bottom is volume at time. It's vertical axis, right? It travels along the x-axis down here. It's vertical. I'm sorry. It's actually on the x-axis. What is that crazy noise? And then volume on the side is volume at price. So it gives you volume over time. And so it's just two different ways of aggregating what's on the chart. You can actually see the same things in the volume on the bottom that you can in the volume on the side once you understand what it's doing. But all volume on the volume profile does, just to demystify this, since everyone always freaks out that there's some magic about this thing. So we use it on this guy. So this particular volume profile they have a couple versions of it. Ones that you can set it and measure certain ranges you want. Session ones, and then they have this one, which is just an aggregator of Somebody told me I need to move this box on the screen. It kills people. How's that? A little out of the way of the chart there. All right. So like I said, we'll keep the one at the bottom. So these are huge volume spikes that happen in exponential climaxes. You have big volume spikes that happen. You see them all the time. Well, when price sits in the same place, like here, for instance, right, and then going sideways again is here, right? He's done a lot of trading in this one area across a significant period of time. Why doesn't that show my shit the way that I want it to? So we'll just do this then. How about this? So yeah, like that, right? And that you can see over here. It's just how long did he trade in an area? That's what volume at time at price tells you. You know, so when you look at the chart and you see him doing these huge pumps, and you're like, holy shit, he's fucking. This is crazy. There's a huge volume spike here. There's a huge volume spike here, and you're not sure where the biggest volume is. This will actually give you a better idea about it, because although these individual volume spikes are rather massive, the amount of time price has to sit in a range when it's pumping this fast is not very long. This is one thing I tell you, that smart money isn't going to be accumulating in a high speed markup like this, because they won't be able to name their price. Price will be moving at a speed there won't be enough time to get a meaningful position at this rate. So smart money operates where it has enough time to build a position of meaningful size. So where prices are boring and sideways is where you can actually build a position, and it's going to be masked by massive volume, because you had a duration of time to run at that price level. So that's all that really shows you. This particular graph, this volume profile aggregates what's on your screen from the left hand side. So if I like zoom in, it'll cut off a bunch of it, and it's still the same thing, but there's still a lot there. But it'll just keep recalculating and stuff like that if you move around. So just be aware of that. You have some that you can set it and fix it to what you want, and then you have this one that just moves around. I just do this one that moves around. It gives me a general idea of what I want to see. So that's all it is. Doesn't matter what time frame it's in. So you want to give you an idea of TA with a volume profile? We'll have some fun. I did do some. No, I didn't do those. I had some geometry symbols for this shit. I decided to put some fucking like infection symbols. Oh, whatever. Let's see. What do you want to grab? So, alright. Let's do something. What chart don't I have a bunch of fucking writing on already? USD. Alright, cool. That guy doesn't have any writing on him. Alright. So you guys, yo, invest in Snapchat. The sound effects in the stream, it was the hardest thing to get that thing to turn on. Now I don't know where the fuck I go turn it off. Peter, you said my work starts before I look at the chart. My analysis of price starts from the minute I start speaking to all of you. It's the way people speak from day to day. It tells me a lot about the price. Alright, so we'll pick a time frame. What time frame do you want me to put this chart on? Let's see. 15 seconds. No, can't go back far enough. It limits me to 2 days. Pick a time frame where you can go back in time. one day. Dr. D keeping it simple. Well, yeah, we can do one day. I was gonna do some intraday stuff, but okay, day's fine. And I'm gonna look away and just gonna scoot back in time to somewhere in the past of Bitcoins. I don't know how far this chart actually goes, to be honest. All right. So let's see what we can see from volume profiles. So here I can see from where I started, 2016's chart, huge concentration of volume, and it was obviously a shockwave. Now, I didn't want to use a daily because I pretty much know the whole of the daily chart of Bitcoin, so to make this a little bit more genuine, I'll be honest, I'll make you guys pick something else. Let's just go to like a 30-minute chart on BNB and go back into the intraday, and I'm just gonna go look. I'm just gonna scoot the chart back in time as far as it'll take me, and we'll start back there and we'll just try to do, well, I have a bunch of fucking writing on this chart, don't I? Let me see. Alright, where am I at? Alright, we can do in the middle of nowhere, it's not much writing. And it's not stopping. Stop. Well, shit. Stop. Alright, where the hell we are. Where's the volume profile at? Am I crazy or is it not appearing? What's this thing's problem? What the heck is it? Am I crazy? Alright. Maybe it's the time frame. Try this again. Oh, it nukes it if I go back too far. What? That's so shitty. Well, that's going to be hard to show you an example if it keeps turning the fucker off. Alright, let's grab a stock. I don't think it does that with stocks. How about something like CRM? And turn the volume profile if I go back in time. I don't remember that being a thing before. Okay, yeah. I thought it was always on there when you go back in time. What the fuck was happening in crypto there? That was pretty weird. You guys had that problem? Alright, so we're back in the beginning of time. So now I think the replay won't age this thing as it plays. It'll just stop it, and you can't see it. So this is a little shitty because it covers like half far into the chart. But just to give you some like ideas about this thing, right? So what can you see on this chart at this point? At this point, there's some congestion under the price right there. But from this point, you can see this is Salesforce, right? We're in what, 2014. So you can see that there's decent amount of volume here and good interaction around this area. Right here, price pumps on a parabolic, drops, stop runs everybody on the top of that, then collapses. So I like where that volume profile is. I like this is a good level to keep an eye on. Specifically this first level, not the second one. And it also matches up with the gap over here, so there'd be good volume on the gap. So I like that level. Turn this thing to something else. Let's see on the bottom. At some point, this guy on the bottom was a pretty huge zone. You can see that this retested what would have been probably the POC down in this area. So you can figure out what level was key level for this guy. I like that low through it. So let's get trading levels, places that the price will interact in the future, and you can actually make a play, where you find that the price has the ability to stall and potentially reverse or just consolidate, break through, and continue. Right? There's only two choices of what's going to occur if you find a good level in time. So this is what I have for now. It's just minor compared to everything I can see. So leave him out for now. See what price does. So I've got a big ass channel as we start out, and price will look good for long plays above this horizontal, right? Because that's at least a key area of volume. If we can get above it and aggregate more volume up here, this might stage for a breakout to push higher. Well, there's a gap. So, yeah, case in point. Let's hope he comes back down here. We get to fuck around with this a little bit and see what he does. So now just looking at what I can see with it. Price is out of there already, so I don't even get to use that. So that channel was just right there. I don't know if price ever comes back to it or not. Right now, huge amount of volume in this guy. Huge climax spike. Second test, failed. That's a level that I want to see him clear before I'd want to play continuation. That level, specifically. This has got really no volume into it until he comes out of here to here. He does a shit ton more volume here than what's in between it. So I only really care about the zones below. This entire region right here is probably past you. I'd rather play him north of this, or off of the level down here, or coming back off of this level down here. One of those three places. So see what he does, how far he gets. And you want to see good interaction with the levels that you mark. You want to see price trade off of them so you can make plans on them. See price accumulate, volume on and below them, not just go through them back and forth and kill you. Again, you're still looking for a price that's free and clear. You don't ever need to play something just when it first breaks. You can give it room to run and then play into it as it continues. So there's more volume on top of it. Definitely shows good interaction sitting on top of it. You can notice it's not the wick that actually mattered. It's actually the level that has more volume done on it because there's like repeated confluence here. So that level becomes key, supports this. You know, these lame head and shoulders, I don't use shit like that, but I know some people do and they would see that. And we go back into this guy. And that's what I mean about using good volume levels, right? They'll be important again in the future if you look at the price and read it correctly. So, like I told you, this would be a good place to play if he sets up correctly. He missiles through this one, hits this one, you would have had a play down here. This is a 1 hour chart. You'd have to make a play on something lower resolution the intraday for that guy. But you would be able to make a plan at that level when he stops on like a dime on it. And then he reacts here and trades until he gets back on top of this level and then pumps back away. So that's kind of an idea of using volume profile to find yourself some good levels that will have good interactions in the future. Does that help you? The difference between the colors of the bars, purple and blue, and green and red. Yeah, in the totality of the volume profile that you can see on the whole screen, 70% of the trading volume is highlighted in what's called a value area. And that's a tradition. It's traditional usage of this indicator for 40 years. Basically, your futures traders only care about where the 70% of the trading action is. That's pretty much where the bulk of the market's at. So that's what governs like the behavior of the price from day to day when you look back at previous value areas. So that's what the highlight is. It's 70% of the volume that's in the whole thing. Red is down volume, so volume attributed to going through on the bid, and green is up volume. Volume going through on the offer, so technically buy versus sell volume. So yeah, the higher volume in this entire screenshot, remember it's just a screenshot, is obviously up here, this heavier stuff that you see here and up here. So you can actually see there's a good amount of stuff running through the zone up there. I like that. I want price north of this entire zone before I played him again to see if he would break free and punch out. It's like above 79.37. So got a channel right there to watch when he gets back in. He gapped through it. He gapped through that level. You want to play him north of this, and only if he stays north of this. Punches out. First counterweight just goes back into it. He runs a channel. Good test of the same channel we just marked. So he interacts just like we did on the low side. And again, it's like like I said, you want to just have good areas of interaction. So these are all perfect areas of interaction where he's swinging at. He's showing good interaction, gapping onto these levels, and then interacting underneath it. So I'm showing you how to find like good technical levels on the price. See it? Price now interacts. You have like a roadmap of where he's going to go. Whoops, I shouldn't have done that. Well, what time frame was I on? It's on 1 hour. So we'll just go back there in time and just see what kind of levels we drew in. So yeah, from our little read on the 1 hour chart, oh my god, stop moving. Thing's fucking possessed. Good levels of interaction. Like I said, your buy will come above that box area. which he finally does here. He breaks through and fails it, breaks through here and he works. But you should have good interaction with your levels. If you have mapped them out correctly, price is people, price has memory, price will interact with itself again if it's in that area, if you found a place where there are people. All right, let's see. Talk about MSI and Starbucks. I can pull those up. Um, 5 books. I mean, if you're inside the shockwave, it depends what resolution you're looking at. You know, if you're in a 4-hour chart shockwave, you could always go in there on a minute chart and it looked like a bull market and bear market going back and forth for a while in there. So it depends on resolution. You know, if I'm sitting on this time frame here and I'm looking at a pretty narrow range, no, I just want to know where the shockwave is and then figure out where that localized monopoly is going to form, and then buy or sell the market that comes from it. Yeah, this works on anything. I don't know what the fuck was going on with crypto there, why it was turning off the VPVR when I went back in time. I don't remember doing that, but it's just being crazy. Let me see. Something else I was about to say and I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, somebody had asked me to look at one of these things from the wall. Let me see. This thing's a little possessed if I open the chart while I'm streaming. Let's see. So, what do you want to know about this thing? Seems pretty straightforward. I don't know. You want to talk about it? It's pretty broad, so what do you want me to tell you? Respect Mr. Dorset in the Heezy for Sheezy. What would you like to know about Starbucks? Starbucks is like all the same stuff we talk about with like LTC, right? Remember LTC? We identified the downtrend structure, and then we say, well, when's it going to reverse, you know? And when it finally did, all right, cool, it turned around, bull flag, buy it. Nothing really crazy. Use some lunar timing to figure out where the emotional wave should be. So I told you down here, watch the full moon for the full wolf moon. If you guys know what it was called. That wolf looks a lot like a fucking rat, but at any rate, it's supposed to be a fucking wolf and a moon. That's probably why nobody got the joke. And then it should impulse, you know. We should see waves of volatility in the markets around full moons, which we did. Do your thing, you weird play button. It never plays. And he played out one shockwave, and we've dump barred now with that whole, virus breakout. But this was a pretty timely breakout for me, but I told you manage risk. I actually told you on the last day of this high to actually manage your risk on it if you were following on Instagram and Facebook. So it was a good run for a lot of people that played it. It's still not over. Got good levels in to watch and see what he does. He comes back through a trigger. He's playable again. But this is just, projecting out, like I said, your waves, they have amplitudes that are measurable. So thought he should, make it to the trend line and shockwave and then bust through and then see if he can make it to the next level. Hasn't made it yet, but doesn't mean he's dead yet. So see what he does. The MSI play is a bigger time scale. Let me see. Get to that guy from here somewhere. Somebody hit it. There it is. Left side is done in a 1 month time frame. Right side is done on a daily. And just put I didn't have to put the left side on there because it's like a ridiculous time scale, but it was to give you like the broad picture of what this thing's done for 25 fucking years. He has one gigantic, effectively bull flag since the internet bubble through the fucking housing crash, and is now sitting up here at this really really extended arc in a high and tight bull flag on the verge of 5G taking over the world. In my world of technical analysis, 5-6 years ago, I didn't do it to the degree I do it today, but I I do take into account and analyzing the way people look at qualitative data and the emotions they have about it as part of my technical analysis. I involve a lot of psychology, and a lot of that stuff I guess you could say is kind of abstract. But in reading people and behaviors, I look at the way people feel about 5G, the realities that I can ascertain about it with my limited understanding of tech, and mostly what other people who will have equal or lesser understandings of the tech think about it also, to then look at the price structure and confirm the structure of price with the behavior of the people. So try to capture some things, in what I write up, but I know that part is hard to understand because I tell you a lot of times to be careful of the news. I never look at the news looking to take it at face value. Many people do, and that's where the danger comes from. I just look at it for information to add to a larger body of information. So this guy is this is just 5G. 5G is something that I feel to get the fucking coronavirus under control. It should be the next major rollout in the world for communications, internet, and phone, everything internet. So left side here, I just put a thought box on some things about the fundamentals that we see in the market. And like I always tell you, right, you can trigger fundamentally all you want, but you enter the price technically no matter what. So this is the rationales that are out there about 5G, and then the yellow box is the technicals of it. What should happen with price to make it something you'd want to play with. So for like this guy, this is a good play. I actually took him coming out of the box. I thought he would stall in shockwave here. He might now. He got away to the bull trigger and failed. So he's not technically out of the structure yet to really push hard. This is a large scale structure. So I thought he should be in this box here in this timing. He's there. What's going on? Come on, you weird thing. I was actually off by like a day or so, but close enough. You get the idea. So we're looking for a shockwave in this range and see if he sets up right. And then he does. Oops. We get a markup out of this range, and we probably see the entire 5G basket go flying with this shit. So something to keep an eye on. We are at all-time highs still in the market, and while everybody keeps freaking out, every next news story is the end of the world. Black swan events, they're only a black swan to the people who don't know they're coming. Excuse me. I have another chart for you that actually is a good idea to put up right now if I can see it and find it. So actually we had this in the chat. Here we go. I found it. Well, that was faster than usual. Alright, hold on. Oof, that's bright. So I have this one. We're talking about it in Twitter Discord, and this is a graph of global stock market performance and all of the possible epidemics and mega diseases that we've kept track of for the last 40 years. And remember, like I told you, there's always a reason to call the end of the world. HIV/AIDS is definitely fucking serious. And he's at the start of the fucking mega bull market leg, the second leg of the 100 years. Look where the pneumonic plague is. He's at the next, after the last shockwave in the 90s, after Bush 1 goes out and Clinton comes in. He's in the breakout shockwave before that markout happened. SARS, begins and wraps up, in like late 2002. And that whole scare, runs its course by March, April 2003. And that's the bottom of the internet bubble's crash and us going into Afghanistan after post 9/11, right? So 9/11 has happened, the dot-com bubble has happened, and oh my God, we're about to be wiped out. Pump. Swine flu, pump again. It's pretty crazy, right, when you look at it this way. This is why I always say context matters. If you isolate any one incident and go, dude, they just dropped a bomb in fucking Iran. Dude, there's like this fucking disease and pigs have it and people are getting it. Whatever the fuck you look at, if you isolate one incident, you'll fail to realize there's crazy shit happening every minute of the fucking day. You just don't have the news story for it. There's somebody dying every second. So without keeping track of data across time, you can become really myopic and really freaked out by something that you just really don't have a good base reference to. It's the same thing in price, right? If you sit in a 1 minute chart for the whole fucking day, you're gonna have no idea what it's really doing in a half hour chart or an hourly chart, and that's what governs what the fuck you're trading in the 1 minute chart. So change the time frames, look at things in broader scope, look at the macros of it and see what it really does. This is the reality of diseases and scares across the last 40 years in the world. Trust me, Ebola is fucking scary. Evian, I know they didn't hide that so good. But Ebola was fucking scary. They freaked people out with Zika. They even had measles going. Like that was gonna come back again. And Ebola came a few times. How many of you ever seen this chart before? It's pretty cool, right? I think it's pretty cool. I can't hear what you're saying, but I know you think it's pretty cool too. The best part of waking up is some logic in your cup. Dude, please, whatever you do, don't ever repeat that phrase. I did press the play button at Starbucks. How do you compare Forex to other markets like stocks, for instance? Would you say there's more dumb money in there? People are just dumb in general everywhere. There's not like less or more idiots in one place. It's the same distribution of stupid in every fucking place. Damn, Sheepleman throwing up the 5 stacks. Thanks, homie. Respect. Yeah, it's not like, a different set of humans are in stocks versus Forex. It's the same idiots on the whole planet. It's just one big fucking zoo full of idiots, 90% of the planet's being dragged around by the 10% that make everything happen. They're just dumb fucking sheep. They're just as dumb as they were hundreds of years ago. They're not smarter in real estate, Forex, stocks. It's the same fucking idiot. So where we at? Damn. We've been on an hour already? How does it even happen? I feel like I haven't even talked about any markets yet. What the fuck? Alright. Court is cute. It's not that it doesn't matter what happens in the world. It's that there's a whole ton of shit happening in the world all the fucking time. And the media can make you have tunnel vision about one specific event. Like it's all of a sudden way more important than all other events, giving you a skewed perception of what's impacting the things you see in the marketplace around you. There's shit always happening. I don't know if you haven't been in this stream before, but let's go back to the other window real quick. Just do a quick version of this because I want to do the Dow Jones next. Well, I'm going to do the Dow Jones anyway, so might as well, right? Chart talk. All right, I am on the wrong screen. All right, so DGI. So this is the Dow. Let's put him like on some retarded time frame. Actually, let me get this off of here. The Dow volume is fucking whack. The CFD, this isn't right, so don't worry about it. When you have some CFDs, like this shit's not useful. It's tick volume. It doesn't really tell you the true nature of transactional volume. I want you on 6 months is good, and then we'll go logarithmic. So one, this is the Dow Jones for 100 years when you're not logarithmic. This is what this chart looks like since the 1920s. It's actually crazy. But logarithmic so we can see what the fuck is going on in this thing, right? And we talked about this before. This isn't the annotated one, but for all you guys who are looking at this like pandemic thing, right? I want you to keep in mind that right up here, a nuclear bomb is dropped on a civilian city. 2 of them. And vaporized fucking 100,000 plus people in 2 cities in the 1940s before your mom and dad or grandparents are flying on like jet cruise liners and shit. This is happening in a time period where fucking like color TV is going to be wow. Just try to imagine what people in the 1940s think of a nuclear explosion when they see that versus how you feel about today. What the shock and awe level and fear of that weapon showing up in the 40s is before you can fly into outer space. That is the single greatest fucking fear you could ever fucking have. And you shockwave and you pump. Right? They shoot and kill your fucking president up here. And you go into a shockwave at that point, and another president fucking quits office before he can get impeached here. You lose 2 presidents in this range. Then you get a B-list actor that pretty much is too old to be in office and falls asleep in key meetings. And then Russia wants to fucking shoot missiles at you at the same time also. You have to fucking fund Star Wars to put lasers in space. Right? There's tons of crazy shit. They knock over fucking 2 biggest buildings in the United States fucking over here. Right? 6-month candle. So it's in this candle. And the market bottoms, less than a year later. You could be sucked into any one thing. A person in China isn't going to give half of a shit as much about 9/11, even though it's world making news. Um, People in places that aren't like getting hit majorly with this pandemic are going to care less until it comes to their doorstep. But there's any number of crazy fucking news stories, missiles flying around, terror attacks, fucking explosions, geopolitical fucking upheaval, all that shit for you to zoom in and go, look, this is the one story that's gonna fucking seal the deal. Everybody's going down because of this one fucking story. This Zika virus is it. You don't want to get caught in that game. The world is always crazy, and as long as this chart is growing up like it is, and the human population is rising like it is, there is not only more people on the planet, all of the fucking worst things that people knew of yesterday are scaled up with the amount of human beings on the planet. So everything looks worse than it ever did before because this is the greatest amount of humans that can fall from the highest high point that we've ever seen in all of history at this point. And tomorrow, that's going to be true again. So it keeps people fearful of what if, and we climb what's called the wall of worry. That's what you're looking at. Religion helps to condition some of that stupid shit into people. Doomsday theorists, people always think they know the end of the world, even though it says in every fucking religious book you won't know God's plan, but every fucktard in church knows God's plan for some fucking reason. So you have that problem, right? You have a whole bunch of things that condition people into being fucking stupid. And the three things you can't talk about at dinner, right? Religious bias, political bias, and racism are the three things that skew our fucking belief structures the most. That's why you can't talk about them at dinner, because there's no logical conclusion to those conversations. They're completely biased. Most people believe, what we talk about in Twitter Discord, 90% of the world believes in the afterlife, and coincidentally, 90% of the world doesn't have any equity in this fucking planet at the same time. That's a counter trade. So yeah, that's it for world moving events and stuff like that. If you look at this, there are wars all over the thing. Yeah, that's all there is. I think I have a war cycle chart before. This guy, I had the war cycle chart. So there's nothing scarier than World War fucking II. Which one of these is the end of the world, In these times, I guarantee you, most people thought any one of these situations were going to be the thing that brought about the end. These are all posts from over time, guys like this who are, this guy Bubble Boy, who's always fucking scaring people to death that the world's gonna crash. This guy has been doing this shit for literally the last over half a decade and just fighting people out of the stock market as it breaks high over and over and over again. Because he doesn't understand central banking, But these written statements are also the Dow 100-year charts over time. The blue one is the one from 2014. The green one's from 2016. And like I've said before, right? Bias is a killer in all time frames. Many would-be smart guys have debated the end of this mega trend based on their so-called understanding of the U.S. debt situation, other urgent crises they're sure is going to bring about the end. Get all the concerns over a political party, geopolitical events, and fiscal worry out of your mind, or you will be unable to see the very simple reality. So we've read this many times on the show. And this is the reality of it, right? Any one of these things they can feed you is what they choose to feed you. There's a whole bunch of other crazy shit that's going on that you don't know anything about. There's been some crazy fucking earthquakes in Puerto Rico. The fires in Australia have all but vanished off the television overnight. As much as they made everyone give a fuck about it, they made everyone stop giving a fuck about it. Now people are fucking crying from fucking Florida to fucking Japan about Kobe Bryant because they're flooding the airways about that one story. And they can use that story and help you forget there was even a fucking impeachment hearing going on the president. So they have an amazing control of your mind. The tail literally wags a dog. And the things they make you care about, the key point in that is they make you care about. And you don't realize that that's happening. That's why we talk about Schiller in the Schiller comic, right? Because that piece of shit is fucking party to that exact fucking thing. How they get you to think there's a recession. How they get you to fucking think there's a situation with the president or whatever else they need you to worry about, or Zika virus or whatever the fuck. They force feed it up your ass with repetition until you fucking start saying it like it's your own idea. Then you go to the water cooler and be like, you know what? It looks like the market's going up on the fucking Trump effect. Yeah, it's in my econ book, chapter 3, Trump effect. Whatever load of shit they shoved up your ass. It's all crap. Why do I have this circle in his face? So, yeah, that's why we make stuff like that. That was a pretty quick hour. Yeah, hour and 6 minutes. Decent coverage. So hopefully that clears it up for you, Quarters Q. MSM is the 1 minute time frame. That's really good, Crossman. Yeah, I like that one. Fractal hours, effect on the bits. Awesome chart. Yep. Yeah, that disease chart changes everything the way you feel about it. Look where fucking HIV is. You can't say shit else about anything after you see where that one's at. That's the scariest thing we ever saw. And in my childhood growing up, that's a disease that, like, it's incurable. You get that, you're gonna die. There isn't any fucking mortality rate. Everybody's dying if you get that one. That was scary shit. 80,000 people died in 2018 from the regular flu. Right. I think if you actually, I think like if you work out globally, it's something like in the order of like 670,000 people a year die from versions of the flu. It's like 1,700 people a day die from the flu. When you take that's CDC, that's the US stats. You take the entire planet stats, you should be terrified of the fucking flu. Yeah, the news. Do you ever think about why TA looks so good in hindsight, but in real time you're completely mind fucked? The news. The news is why. Because when you look back 5 years on a chart, you don't have the news flow and the mindset that's being communicated to the population 5 years ago anymore. You're not freaking out about Zika now, so now you can just look at it and be like, this is an uptrend. So you're missing all the emotional fucking angst that the TV is forcing into everybody, and everybody's forcing into one another by their interconnectivity. So when you go back in time, without the fucking sentiments of the past, you could actually look at the chart like this giant green uptrend line, right? It doesn't look like shit now because you don't know what the fuck's going on in the chart anymore. This guy, right? What's happening here? I don't fucking know, but that's a breakout. See, a retard can use this chart now because you don't know what anything on it is. When it breaks out of this, I'm a buyer, right? Breaks out of this, I'm a buyer. Okay, one fake break. He breaks out of this, I'm a buyer. He breaks out of this, I'm a buyer. One fake break, fucker. Because of risk management, I'll buy you again. Gee, that's rocket science. Duh. Pretty funny, right? This has beaten all your Nobel Prize winning jackasses for 100 years. Trend trading. It's a killer. That's all Warren Buffett is, a giant hodler, He's sitting fucking, Gillette and shit from, 1985? He just held one of the legs. Yeah, everybody's a genius in the bull market, especially if you know it's a bull market, like a really big fucking bull market. He just holds with bigger time frames. That's all he does. His timing's horrible, but he's always a buyer of something that's in a bull market, so you look smart. So I said, if you could always play bull markets wins you, you just have to let yourself be in them. There are more of them around than you think. This thing's at all-time high right now. It's a hair off from the coronavirus, and already people are like, the market's over. Look where it is. Really? Remember us having this conversation on recession? Right up here, you're gonna tell me it's over? Really? Here's our last thing we drew up from our last show. I knew I had some lines on this thing. I wasn't seeing them. Yeah. And there's the bull flags all the way where it's over. It's over. See, I told you so. Knew it all along. Fuck this country. We're gonna get wrecked. Obama's a criminal. I told you. Knew it. Fuck. Well, maybe. Here we go. Son of a bitch, it's time. God damn it. That's how trends are built. Stupid people who can't get out of the way of their own biases. It's always the end. It's always the end, man. Tick volume. If you see CFD, you're dealing with tick volume. If you have just a straight futures contract, then you'll have normal volume. But you're not gonna get in forex anything but tick volume unless you go get the underlying futures contracts for it. They make you care. Damn right. Alright, just catching up. Probably gonna wrap right now. We're hour and 10 in. Trying to keep you guys shorter than feature length movie time. So you guys can get this get to look at some things. I'm gonna finish looking at the Dow real quick and then a little closer, and then we're gonna wrap. I think grasping ideas, narratives that we are being sold in general media is important to take note of and adjust our trading psychology accordingly. I wouldn't adjust your trading psychology by the stuff you're being fed, or you're going to be their bitch. The reality is that you want to understand the psychology of the people who actually do exactly what you just said, and adjust their psychology based on what they're spoon fed by people who don't mean them well. That is where your advantage comes from. One of the charts I posted, we don't trade the news, we trade what the news does to the perception of the people who trade the market. That's a very different thing. Do I like to trade things that are trending in multiple time frames? Trends only happen when things are doing that multiple time frames. My opinion is that will never change. Is there an argument for a trend reversal outside the Federal Reserve? I'm not sure what the first half of that comment is. Uh, what do you mean on Cordis? I'm doing the EU time for a change. I'm notoriously in fucking Australian EU time zones. My US people want to strangle me. I'm never in USA times. I'm almost always over here. But no worries, man. If this is the first time you caught it, I hope you learned a lot from it. Yeah, media can escalate your emotions about a thing you never gave a fuck about. They can make you care about decaffeinated coffee today if they fucking play on TV enough. They can fuck with you, trust me. Um, so, what are we looking at right now with stocks? Stocks are up here coming off another pullback. They were kind of due for it. See the volume is wrecked here. This is what you get with a CFD. You get fuckage. Apple. Let's look at Apple real quick. So Apple's a good one to watch. Holy crap! Did I leave that much stuff on Apple last time? All right. I think everybody got the gist of it. I'm gonna clear that out so I can do new stuff with Apple. So looking at Apple right now, box range. It's local shockwaves where he was at, and just kind of like looking at Apple. Like I told you guys, you can measure waves with old waves. So you look at like this wave. How big is this guy? That's a box range for that. So we measure from the low of the box range. And we can see that these two legs are almost mirror images in their duration. So it's not a bad place for fucking stocks to take a breather. When you look at the markup of this thing, you can look at S&P 500 compared to this guy. Probably not my best move because he didn't mark up that much. So let's put it on the other side. SPX. There he goes. So Apple is your biggest stock on the planet right now, or not under Saudi Aramco, but in the American Stock Exchange, this is like your biggest motherfucker inside the indexes. So there's a high degree of correlation with your indexes and some of the big components, obviously, because the indexes are made from these components. So we look at the market legs inside of the S&P, and remember I gave you a breakout play in October to play in Facebook, which is still good, by the way. If you have it, it's still good. It was 3038 breakout right here. It was a shockwave for the 3038. This shockwave right here, and a breakout play you could take, which is this guy, and you still could have this guy free rolling. It was a 10% move, over $1 trillion in the stock market. I think over a $2 trillion move in the U.S. stock market from that breakout play, and it's still good. So at this point, the legs, are matching in scale. The amplitudes are pretty similar also. So what do we know when we get to a climax point in the wave? We shockwave, and we at least know where the high point is, and until that fails, the next wave can't resume. So the worst case scenario is, right, we know that if this bull market's going to continue, we have a great line in the sand to watch for where we can buy into higher highs that could become future lows. So until further notice, right, this guy needs to be put on radar and wait for him to do something to give you an idea what to do. He could go right back in a recoil back to the top. Cool. You don't have to find yourself inside this low range. Let him prove himself first. Let this sort itself out. If it takes this kind of duration, if it goes right back out, whatever. But for right now, it's probably worth having a certain degree of caution after the run up we've seen in stocks and the ridiculous moves that we've seen across the board. You've got the Federal Reserve on Wednesday. You've got Apple and AMD's earnings. Unless you're an expert at forecasting earnings, I don't recommend that you go running in front of that freight train. If you killed it with us, coming out of last summer through the new year, like I told you, your biggest losses come after your biggest gains. So be careful. If you kill this thing, your confidence level can make you walk in here when you don't need to. Know when to play and know when to sit on your hands. If you're dealing with stocks on this resolution of time, they're counter waving, right? Let them chill. Do the things that you did that made you make your biggest money. If you played into the trend in this wave and you found you did really well doing that, then make sure you play into another version of the same thing later. And don't sit here chasing every single candle until it becomes it again. Let it back off and let it do its thing. So in this resolution, kind of a wait and see attitude is like the best case for what we can do. But yeah, as far as the bull market being over because of that, we've seen many corrections. They could be this deep, they could be this shallow. At the end of the day, if you understand how we look at trends and how we look at waves, right, you're not really concerned with the tip of the spear. You're not concerned with like this part. God damn it. You are, yeah, I need a different color palette. Yes, damn it. Better color. Orange. All you care about is here. That's really easy. God damn it, how'd that happen? See the duration of the shockwave. It's from the very climax high. It's almost the same duration. So we'll mark them from about there. And so far the pullback is a little bit bigger. Maybe he fills it in, maybe he doesn't. At this point, he's becoming stupid obvious. Maybe he needs a bigger counterweight to mindfuck a few people, but we'll let him do what he does. And we don't have to get in front of him and guess too much about it. That's where he's at right now. So, you look at other big market stocks that move with him and see what they're doing with the wave. They're highly correlated. The S&P is 500, the biggest stocks in the country. So the big boys of each industry are going to look a lot like him. Look at defense. Look at some of these guys, see what they're doing. They still look good. They're not doing the same thing as the market. And there's winners out there. There's other guys in different spaces that are doing different things. We talked about like space cash stocks. This is an ETF for space cash. He actually came off with it too, but space cash has been ridiculous, like rocket and stuff like that. The market may need to chill, but at this point we know what it is. It's in a pullback mode now, and now you've got to be willing to wait and see and let him set something up. It's just done this one wave. At this resolution, there's not really anything to do just yet. At other resolutions, sure. But at this particular resolution, you need to wait and see. And this is hourly we're looking at. So, sun's rising. My bad. Why don't somebody tell me I got this freaking front camera down? I think that's it. Take a look at that for now. See what the market does. Gold's been really strong. I think, oops, let me get this out of here. Huh. Is that what we drew last time? That's crazy. I don't remember doing that one. Oh yeah, I do this with you guys. So, well, that's neat. That's a shockwave that should have formed up there if he's up there. So, this is what we had looked at. We had a big old bull flag. I had him in the weekly setup because I had next to, next to what you call it, to the gold fractal for BTC. But yeah, he broke his same angle, very much like Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin came out and he structures a flag like over here. That's kind of what he's got going on right now. And you can see, like, you can let him structure out. Even if that comes out, he doesn't really establish a new range. Even though he breaks out of the angle, it takes him a minute before he does it. Now this is where he looks like he can actually get momentum to push. But yeah, so gold at this minute is not something you want to see generally pushing if you want to see stocks still pushing, because gold is a risk-off asset. At this moment, he can push with stocks. If stocks push harder, then he technically underperforms them. Technically, then he's still risk off. But there's definitely some stuff going on in the marketplace right now warrants a degree of caution. And you have enough events this week that any one of them could, be crazy combined as Trump's mouth. So it's been a big run. If you've had done good risk management, you have some winners locked in, and you don't have the ability to give back anything. You've got free rolls left in the market. Let those guys ride, or just to whatever your plan is. But you're in a bull market, and betting against it's been a bad idea for the last decade for most people. If it rolls, you'll have time to do something with it. Just like this. This market gave you signs to do something with it, right? It just blinds everybody. You don't have to have this move up here, but you damn sure could find your way into like this guy here when he fails out. And you don't have to have the tip of the spear down there either, right? You can play everything once he does this, and you have plenty of time if you're not impatient to deal with the market. So coronavirus, no. So I have to leave the jury out on that one and see what happens. But hopefully that was good. Hopefully I helped you guys out some. We're gonna wrap right here. But a quick morning review before you guys get to it for the Tuesday. No worries, Dr. Dizzle. Glad you enjoyed it, sir. The big blue arrow is a box that was showing you the scale of the Apple markup. That's all it was, from one shop up to the next. Is our stock to flow or other models something you use? I don't use anybody else's models. I use my own mixture of like emotional logic and way structure to analyze price and fractals. You won't find any write-ups on my models, homeboy. That's why there's only one number one technical analyst in the world. Any thoughts on inverting yield curve? And we briefly inverted for a while. Unless I think you see that thing sustained, I don't think you have a real risk. All right, now I know the 10-year has been, let me pull that up real quick. One of the things I mentioned in past streams is as long as yields keep fucking going to the ground around the planet, risk-free rates from the government, asset prices are going to continue to moon in order to drive their yields down, just like your rental property. Like I told you guys before, right? If you have a $100,000 house that pays you $10,000 a year, that's a 10% yield. If your house is sitting 5 points above the risk-free rate of your country, and your country's rate drops 4 points, and your house's yield needs to drop 4 points to maintain that spread differential, then the asset's going to have to rise to bring the yield return down. So low yields in the country equal higher asset prices. It's going to drive asset prices up on stocks to shove their dividend yields down. It's going to drive up real estate prices to shove their yields down. So as long as you see this and without full inversion sustained on the front end of the curve, I don't think you have a really crazy problem. And the Fed seems to be pretty aware of trying to keep it out of that territory. But this is long-term yields in the world. The whole world's heading towards zero. You have to understand central banking and how they make money along the curve, to understand why this isn't as bad as people think it is, to see this. So I think that wraps up our college level course for a show. You guys good? So Go out there, be careful. Remember, Fed's on Wednesday. The market can be choppy and kind of non-directional with the Fed coming around the corner and big earnings. Apple is going to be like market moving earnings, and so will the Fed. So you could see today be kind of a shit day. And even with, I think you have earnings after the bell for I think Apple today, you're still going to run to the Fed tomorrow. So they're just going to induce volatility. You know, I can't tell you the direction that they're both going to lead to one single direction, but the two of them are definitely going to increase volatility majorly. And with the market already freaked out with the coronavirus, you could see some pretty big intraday ranges. So don't get complacent in a higher volatility market, which we do have. The VIX is higher right now. We've talked about that before. The ranges in the market can be much larger. So you can be fooled that you're in a mood that it won't come back for you, and it will totally come back for you. Got to be careful with that. If you don't know the VIX, get to know the VIX. This guy is a barometer for volatility in the markets. The higher he is, the crazier shit is in the markets. When this guy breaks out of these patterns, Armageddon fucking comes to the planet. So he's definitely something you want to be aware of right now. At this moment, he holds that trend line. We can pump towards highs again. He blows his trend line out. This becomes the monster version of what this guy was right here, and this is the 2018 fucking crash in the market. So let's look at the S&P 500. His inverse relationship to this guy. This is the fear. When this guy pumps, Armageddon happens to stocks. So we don't want to see that, right? As long as he's in a falling structure, stocks can pump. And right now, he's got a perfect trend line tag. So if he manages to hold this and keeps dumping, stocks will have a decent bounce. Will they bounce and blow out the high? Can't tell you for sure that, but they will get strength to them if this manages to keep fading. If this actually goes into a bull fucking run and pumps anything like this shit over here, and on the scale of coming out of a shockwave of this size, then you know the coronavirus might be fucking serious. So definitely something to keep your eyes on. For now, the VIX looks like it's contacted flush with that trend line. Again, respect the geometry of price, and it will have utility in the future. So watching that right now while we're in trend, and as you can see with all these, right, each one of these falling highs were major bounces to the market, right? So if this continues, even though these are diminishing in scale, there's still the amplitude of the pump in the markets can be significant because the VIX falling 17 to 16 is a much greater percentage fall than falling from 47 to 46. So even though the amplitude is diminishing, the actual realities of what the percentage movements in the VIX mean at lower scales is actually more significant than most people can discern. So that was really nerdy. I probably could have said that easier. My bad. Anyways, that's it. I said I was going to be done like 20 minutes ago. That's enough nerdage. So hope you guys are set. We'll be back on in the week, see how this market develops. Wait till the Fed does its thing and see where we are after that. And then we'll try to get another show in before the end of the week. So hopefully you guys learn some shit and are a little bit more informed to go out there. Damn, Fractal Al, you motherfuckers served it up. I'm gonna have to bring some fucking dancing girls on the next show. Holy shit. Respect, Fractal Al. Best education you received. Damn right. Yep, Gio, make sure you catch the rest of it. So some stuff to check out before U.S. markets open up. Most important thing is you have a lot of news flow in the next 48 hours, and you know any technicals that we really look at, you know, on lower resolutions is probably going to go out the window once you get a couple big earnings with the FOMC in there, and you get what I call the Darth Maul candle, which is that lightsaber that fucking destroys everybody on both ends before you really get to move. You see the Darth Maul candle, the lightsaber, you let that guy sort itself out, and then after the market settles down, it'll find a direction. You never have to jump in right when the news story hits. A lot of people try to do that, you'll just fucking flush your account. So, 5 books? That's good. I'm glad you learned stuff from the content, man. I hate to think you sit here for an hour and then learn shit. That always suck. I do appreciate everybody that comes out. I know I put these on at weird times and you never know when they're coming, so the fact that you guys drop what you're doing and come and watch, I do appreciate it. It's pretty cool. I always forget to do stuff where it would be more surprising, so you know it's coming. Let's see. How many people today? Guess we'll do a happy 10. Let's see. possessed. You son of a bitch. Why won't you copy and paste? Drives me fucking nuts. First 10 on the link. Come join Twitter Discord. Remember, no lurking. Come in, come to participate. What you see in chat gives you no ideas about what happens in voice, and voice is where all the magic happens. So if you're looking for a lurker channel, we're not that. It's a free channel, but we will tax that ass when you come in the door. If you want to learn something, you got to participate. Otherwise, you come in to be part of the empty space, and that won't benefit you any. So come check us out. Say what's up to the guys on the channel. The voice channel is used a lot. Jump on it whenever you see people on it. The goal in there is to learn how to form functional groups, organize yourself a little bit, start doing some homework, learn to think a little more critically about a thing, and see if you can put it together a team where you can start to see some meaningful gains in what you're doing in the markets. And I'm in there in voice quite a bit, so we'll deal with a lot of concepts in voice that we don't talk about on stream, and just help you with some thought exercises so you can kind of think a little bit more better than your competition in the markets about the same things that you're competing against. You'd be surprised what you don't actually think about from day to day. So you hit the link, I'll catch you guys in there. Web page not working. It's not a web page. It should just link you to Discord. If it's already gone, it's already gone. But it was like just 10 on that link. So till next time, peeps. Had a good show. Had fun. We'll catch you on the flip.
Welcome to Winternomics TV. Your stream will begin shortly. Loading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get ready, bitches. Welcome to Winternomics TV.